And joining me now to talk about that, Representative Jim Himes, a Democrat who serves on the Intelligence Committee. Let me talk to you about this, Congressman. A lot of key Trump allies were in that Willard Hotel Command Center, that war room. We don't know a whole lot about what went on in there. What questions do you have about the level of Trump's involvement and whether he was communicating directly with that group? I suppose any sign of any communication that he had with the group in that war room would be very interesting.
Yeah, of course, Jim. And I mean, I guess I'll say two things about that, right? I mean, for history's sake and to learn from what happened around the election. And I don't even mean January 6th. In some ways, I'm more worried about what happened after January 6th with respect to the health of our democracy than what actually happened that day. But of course, it's important for two reasons. One, because we need to know all the facts, who was involved and how. I'm not sure it's important from a political standpoint, right? I mean, you still have 60% or so of Republicans believing that Donald Trump won the election. And it doesn't seem to me that there's any list of facts or weight of facts that's going to change that. But of course, Jim, the key thing here, the really key thing here is, could you get facts that would show enough evidence to suggest a chargeable conspiracy? Could there be information that leads to criminal activity? Because right now, speaking as a guy who was in the chamber on January 6th, it's pretty hard to see, the folks who got fired up by Donald Trump and his people go to jail, although they should go to jail. But to see the masterminds of all of this, pleading the fifth, ignoring subpoenas, and potentially walking away with no accountability.
All right, let's switch gears and ask you about an unsettling exchange President Biden had on Christmas Eve. He was speaking to families, updating them on Santa's progress, something we see that the president do typically every Christmas. And then one father who was calling in had this to say. Let's watch.
I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry
Merry
Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
Congressman, I mean, that phrase, as you know, is right-wing code for blank Joe Biden. That father then joined Steve Bannon on his show to elaborate. Let's listen to that.
Donald Trump is my president, and he should still be president right now. The election was 100% stolen.
I mean, what does that tell you about where we're at right now in terms of the political dialogue in this country?
It gets to my earlier point, right? I mean, this is a deep, deep sickness in our democracy. And I don't know how you address it. You asked me whether the specifics of what happened in the Willard would matter. There's not a shred of evidence out there that this election was stolen. And in fact, court after court after court and commission after commission after commission has said, no, it's not. And yet you get guys like this. I mean, set aside the basic indecency, set aside what it says about our country, that people talking to the president of the United States can't put aside their petty grudges to behave with some respect. This is a cancer. This is a deep, deep cancer on our democracy, Jim, and I really worry about what that means for 2024 and beyond.
And what about Steve Bannon? I mean, he's trying to overturn the election from the Willard Hotel war room. He's fighting the committee's investigation, and he's still using this podcast to, pump out Trump's big lie and have people on who are spouting the big lie. How big of a problem is that for getting to the bottom of what happened on January 6th and protecting this democracy, as you were saying?
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. I mean, again, I watched so many of my Republican colleagues in the House spend a year prior to the election casting doubt on whether the election would be fair. And then even though they know the election was fair, they say, oh, well, look at that. People out there doubted it. And therefore, because they doubt it, by the way, they doubt it because you spread a great deal of doubt and anxiety about it. And of course, Bannon continues to do exactly the same thing. Now, why does he do it? Look, some of these people do this because it's how they stay famous. Some of them do it because they make an awful lot of money scamming people. And of course, Steve Bannon had to be pardoned for that. But it's deeply corrosive to our democracy, Jim.
All right, Congressman Jim Himes, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.